one nation finally, as J&K becomes the last state to pass a resolution for the implementation of GST just a day after a massive ruckus hit the assembly. Despite relentless efforts by the PDP-BJP coalition to assure the opposition of necessary economic safeguards. Aadhaar architect Nandan Nilekani brushes aside all of the concerns of GST. In fact, he says in an exclusive chat with ET Now that a simple GST is a possibility only in the ideal world, and admits that one or two tax rates is an eventuality. ET Now continues to get you a reality check on the impact of GST from across India, with our reporters giving you a 360-degree view on the pain sectors like telecom, real estate and cinema in Tamil Nadu. Good evening and welcome to our special coverage on the GST, Tryst with GST as it's called, with me Avan Dabash. And as India comes to terms with this new tax regime, we at ET Now are at the forefront of the GST coverage. Our team of reporters has travelled all across to get you the impact of GST on every sector. Reporters are spread across the length and the breadth of this nation, and they now join in. We've got Anubhuti Kaur, Tushar Chakrabarti, Mir Fareed, Pooja Sarkar, Rahul Dayama, as well as Vijay Christodos and Amir, who joins in from UP, Arvind Singh here from Rajasthan. So we've got you covered from every single sphere of the nation. In fact, let's start off then with a view coming in on the J&K Assembly election. Mir, the Assembly has passed a resolution for the implementation. Finally, a very crucial decision a day after the opposition created quite a ruckus. And this indeed is a historical moment.
You are absolutely right. J&K being the last state now, but this has not happened without its share of controversy and protests on the ground. Now, from the last many days, we've seen that there is kind of a united opposition in the form of the mainstream opposition. Then you also have the separatists and the trade bodies. They are pretty much on one page opposing GST, while the trade bodies have their own reservations. They want certain things added and deleted, but the government as of now wants, they made it clear the first GST has to be adopted and then other things can come in. But what will be interesting now is how the opposition and these trade bodies react to the implementation, because on the ground today as well there is a Kashmir Bandh against the implementation of GST. There were protests since morning in various parts, traders coming out in Lal Chowk protesting. So while the GST has been implemented, the government made it clear that they cannot further delay it, because already the ramifications were being felt on the ground, as the traders, the kind of trade that used to happen, it had almost got half of what used to happen as far as the Kashmir Valley or the state is concerned, because no trader in any part of India would trade with the Kashmiri traders when you have no implementation of GST. They would want GST first and then the trade would continue. So already the financial ramifications were being felt, and the government said that they had no other option. They have to implement GST, and that is something that has happened. But as I said, it will be interesting to see now what the traders do, what the trade bodies do, and will they get the kind of support they got in the last few days from the opposition mainstream, with likes of National Conference, who supported these traders. But since now the bill has been passed, we'll have to wait and see how the traders react. But the first hurdle as far as the Mehbooba Mufti government is done and dusted. Now it will have to see and control the fallout, because while there is an expectation that traders may fall in line, but then there could be stiff opposition still in the coming days, and that the government will have to.
Meantime, Tushar, let's talk about the telecom sector battling predatory tariffs along with the falling revenues. It's the 18% GST on the sector as well, which is disappointing for customers as well as the telcos. They've been protesting this tax slab for quite some time, but it's the customers who will have to bear the burden. Tushar, give us a ground report of how things are, what the reactions are in New Delhi.
Well, the telecom sector was worried by falling revenues and cutthroat competition as it is in the first place, but the implementation of GST have given them one more reason to worry about. Under the GST, telecom services have been kept under the 18% tax bracket, which the mobile tower companies as well as the telecom companies have been protesting against. The tower companies who have to pay 18% of GST on the services that they provide to the telecom companies say that in the absence of any input tax credit to such companies, they will have to pass the burden of the tax to telecom companies, and telecom companies, it is safe to say, will pass on the additional burden to the end consumer. Therefore, the people need to brace for an increase in their telephone bills post GST. Also, we have seen reports coming in from several parts of the country wherein small retailers selling mobile phones are backdating their bills to the month of June because the tax on mobile phones has gone up from to 12%. Also, we have had instances where prepaid charges, mobile prepaid charges of same value are given different talk time prices because of confusion in the amount of tax that has to be charged. Now what remains to be seen is that how does the telecom industry, which is as it is beleaguered and is in a very deadly combat between the existing players, tackle this entire problem, and how do they monetize the entire situation going forward now that the GST has kicked in.
Thanks, Ishar, for that. Meantime, Pooja, several home buyers have landed on a bit of a sticky wicket because there's not too much clarity on the exact amount to be coughed up once you get the keys to the new house. And you've been talking to people that matter in the real estate sector. What's the ground report?
As GST kicks in, home buyers are still struggling to figure out how much do they really have to pay when they go out and buy a house. So yes, if you're buying a ready-to-move-in property, then you do not pay any GST. You just have to go and pay stamp duty and the registration charges of the state that you're living in. But what happens when you're buying an under-construction asset? You have to pay a GST of 12%, that is 6% of CGST, that is central, and 6% of SGST. But previously, it wasn't the same way. It was around 4.5% of service tax and 1% of VAT. Collectively, it was 5.5% in taxes that one would pay for an under construction asset. But even though arithmetically, if you see the number going up by 6%, that shouldn't be the case that you have to pay more for your new house. So the amount that you pay, the GST amount that you're paying, is on the agreement amount. And also, the developer now has access to input tax credit. Now, what is an input tax credit? Is the tax amount that the developer pays to buy construction materials, contract services that he gets into, etc. The entire cost that the developer bears will have the amount that it pays for the taxation is what is called as input tax credit, and that will be passed as benefits to the buyers, the new home buyers. So all in all, there could be benefits that could be coming in. But on the other hand, most of the products like your wall putty, varnishing, cement, paints, etc., everything has become expensive from 26% to 28%. So all in all, it is yet to be seen how these benefits will be passed on to you. And also, if you've already bought into an under construction asset and your developer has already purchased these materials, he did not have access to an input tax benefit till now. So thus, he might not be able to pass on the benefit to you. So thus, if you're going forward buying a new house, then you should ask your developer if he has access to input tax benefit on the materials he's acquiring. Thus, these are tricky days right now, but then nobody has an answer to.
Oh yes, indeed. Tricky days ahead still. Let's take it across to Bangalore. What happens to those IPL and cricket match tickets in the GST era? Will we have to pay more? And Rahul, what's the outlook as well when it comes to sporting equipment?
I'm here at the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru, and probably the next time that I come here for an IPL match, it will cost me a lot more because IPL matches and various other leagues, be it the Pro Kabaddi League, all of them have been taxed in the highest bracket of 28%. So clearly the prices of your IPL tickets are likely to go up depending on which state you are, because several states levied different entertainment and service taxes. Coming to events organized by registered sporting bodies, bodies, be it BCCI among others, they will be taxed at 18%. So your one-day matches, test matches will be taxed at 18, which is slightly higher than what it was before. So their prices will also go up. If you really are a sports enthusiast, the prices of your equipments, headgears, shoes, all of that have also massively come under the 12 and 28% bracket. So the prices of all this sports equipment and fitness accessories will go up because manufacturers were paying about 2% excise apart from minor other taxes, which is now coming up to 28 and 12. So that's a massive increase. So to really put it down in simple terms, if you really are a cricket fan, an IPL fan, you will have to shell out more for your IPL ticket matches. And if you're a sports enthusiast, be ready to shell out more for the accessories that you will be buying going ahead.
Okay, sports all set to get more expensive, Rahul. Meantime, Anubhuti, when we're going to stock up on groceries next time around, I believe there's going to be good news when it comes to the household budget in the GST era. Give us a sense as to how, part of the monthly purchases will be altered.
Well, we're 5 days into the new goods and services tax, and this is the time when I usually shop for my monthly groceries. So we'll see how GST has impacted our daily budget. I already have a list of items prepared that I want to buy: salt, sugar, ghee, hair oil, toothbrush, toothpaste, dal, rice, plastic bucket, washing detergent, coconut oil, body lotion. So we'll see whether GST has made these goods cheaper or dearer. So let's get started. Well, as you can see, my monthly shopping is almost done, and we understand since most of the essential commodities like vegetables, flour, rice, pulses have been exempted from the GST, but prices for goods like biscuits, cheese, butter will likely go up. And the government has also said that the traders can now sell off the old stock with a new price tag. So this is for sure that we'll get everything on the new price under GST. So my monthly shopping is finally done, and we'll tell you how things will pan out. Well, rates for some commodities will go down, and for the rest they will go up. So as we see, the printed price is still not updated. So after yesterday's government's notification, the traders and the shopkeepers have sprung into action, and within a week you will find new prices updated under the GST. So overall, as experts feel, the effect will be inflationary in the few months, but after that the effect will wait out. So now I will get my billing done.
And meanwhile, Vijay, the face-off between Tamil Nadu government and the movie owners continues. There's over 1,000 cinema houses which have been shut on the back of that. Give us a sense of a ground report of how things are really shaping up.
I'm in one of Chennai's prime spots for moviegoers, the Kasi Theatre. As you can see, now wearing a deserted look. And a signboard outside the ticket counter saying that all shows will be cancelled until further notice. This coming after the Theatre Association went on strike once the GST was rolled out. Apart from the 18 to 28% GST, the Theatre Association owners will have to pay an extra 30% municipal tax on movie tickets, which means around 58 to 60% tax, which has left the Theatre Association and the Producers Council red-faced. Now, with the cap of movie tickets being only at 120 rupees maximum, the association and the Producers Council have right now gone into a huddle with the state government authorities, asking them for a review. Because after the 58 to 60% tax, essentially what the producer would earn is a maximum of 10 to 15 rupees. Now, what comes out of this meeting is something that we have to wait and watch. Whether there would be a curtailment in the municipal tax of 30%, or will it be the moviegoer that will essentially bear the brunt and end up paying higher?
Okay, meantime, you do have reactions flowing in thick and fast. In fact, Dr. Rajnikant has tweeted in with his reaction to the same, saying, keeping in mind the livelihood of lakhs of people in the Tamil film industry, I sincerely request the Tamil Nadu government to seriously consider our plea. Actor Kamal Hassan too has shown his support, saying, "Thanks Rajni for voicing your concern. Let's request first as gentlemen should, then we shall see." And finally, let's go across to Amir in Uttar Pradesh. While there are differing opinions on the actual impact of GST, a lot of the textile traders are very clueless about the statutory requirements of the new tax regime, and it seems like there's a lot of clamour for more efforts to create awareness about GST. So give us a case study and what exactly is the situation prevailing in UP, Amir?
While the government is very upbeat about bringing in the GST, there's a section of traders which is very skeptical towards this new change in tax legislation. But what's the condition out there in the households? Let's try and find out. We have a young couple with us, Mr. Samarth and Anju Narayan. They both have their own businesses and they also obviously are responsible for the finances and budget of their home. Samarth Narayan, what exactly do you think will change from 1st July onward as far as your budget regarding your household is concerned, apart from your businesses?
See, as far as the household budget is concerned, what I personally found that number one, things like luxury vehicles that personally we were looking at, say SUVs, I believe there's a 12% markdown. So that's a welcome change that some luxury vehicles are going to come down as far as the tax is concerned. But what we've seen largely, by and large, is that as of today, there's a lot of confusion about in the business community and in the trader section about what is exactly going to be the impact, because there's multiple levels, multiple scales, some cars coming down in prices, some increasing in prices depending on their classification. So what we are a little concerned about is there's so much of learning curve to be employed before we exactly know what is the exact implication on our household budget. Okay, Anju Narayan is also a fashion designer. Besides managing things at home, you also have an outlet to take care of. First, tell us about how concerned are you about this new tax regime coming in? How will it directly affect your business?
Thank you, Amir. See, chicken curry up till now enjoyed the GI status, यानी geographical identification जिसको कहते हैं, indication जिसको कहते हैं. So I am very concerned about the chicken curry women because I believe in women empowerment, and I have employed a lot of women who work under me, and I am giving them good wages. So once if chicken curry is getting more expensive, I will not be able to pay them the kind of amount I am paying. I don't know how the status is going to be probably from tomorrow. General people, apart from even traders, look actually quite confused on the ground because they believe that the government hasn't briefed them well enough right before this new taxation regime is introduced.
Thanks for that. Meantime, in Jaipur, the marble industry remains shut for a fourth consecutive day as protests go on against the high tax imposed on marble commodities. So the textile industry seems to be up in arms. We've got Arvind Singh here with a ground report. What's going on with the textile industry?
The biggest marble market in the country in Kishangarh in Rajasthan is closed for last 5 days, as the tax on marble has been increased from 6% to 28%. Traders says that 28% would effectively kill the marble industry. A delegation of marble traders have also met Vasundhara Raje, the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, who had assured them support. Similarly, the textile traders in Rajasthan are also protesting against the 5% GST. What textile traders in Rajasthan are saying that they should be taxed at 1 point only, as small traders of textile industry would not be able to file 3 returns in a month and 37 in a year.
Okay, that's the view coming in. Thanks so much to our entire team of reporters for joining in and giving us a ground report from how things are really shaping up across the board, across different cities. Meantime, Nandan Nilekani, one of the original architects of GST's technology backbone, the GST network, said that the technology platform will optimize complexity concerns raised by businesses. In an interview to Chandra Shrikant, he played down concerns raised by the likes of Kiran Shaw, stating that while one would have hoped for a simple GST in an ideal world, the outcome is a result of complex political negotiation.
No matter how well prepared you are, you have to, the actual reality is when it happens. So I'm sure there'll be they'll deal with challenges. But the transaction volume is not that high. They're talking about 3 to 5 billion invoices a month. Now, today, it looks a lot, but today, certainly if you look at the private systems in the world, Google's and Facebook's, they handle many more transactions because every interaction is a transaction. And even if you look at the Aadhaar system, today the Aadhaar system is doing 40 million authentications a day. 40 million authentications a day, which means it's doing, and that's what they published on June 30th. On June 30th, they did 40 million. So if you take that on a monthly basis, that's over 1 billion transactions a month.
In fact, we also spoke to Mr. Murthy, Narayan Murthy last week, and he said, in my 50-year experience with computers, there's no project that will not have, some hitch or something for the first 6 months. So would you agree, is that something that we have to factor in?
I think that's been factored in. I think the government has done a very thorough job, and both the GSTN as well as the Finance Ministry under Mr. Arun Jaitley. Mr. Hasmukh Adhia is excellent, one of the best officers they have. He's been spearheading this as the Revenue Secretary. So, so there's a very fine team in the Finance Ministry. Arvind Subramaniam is there. So it's a very good team out there. So I'm sure they've done it well. And it just, no, look, as Murthy said, any new technology will always have some, back and forth, but it'll all stabilize.
In terms of how India Inc. itself has looked at GST, right? I mean, everyone has welcomed the reform, but a section of leaders also feel that, it could have been a simple structure. I mean, for example, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw last week said, this is a transformative reform, but it's complex, and that we should have had a simpler GST.
No, my own view is that, yes, I mean, in an ideal world, you need a very simple GST. And if you go back and look at the recommendations of Dr. Kelkar, who's really the person who was the architect of the reforms in multiple reports of his, he wanted a very simple GST, one rate or 2 rates and all that. But what happens is that the actual decision is a complex political negotiation between the center and the state. So then there's obviously going to be, it's not going to be the way that you like it in a perfect world. Having the technology platform in place where everyone registers as a taxpayer the same way, everybody files returns the same way, everybody pays using the same infrastructure across the country. That is really the strategic issue. But what's important is that once the states realize that there's a lot more buoyancy because of this compliance, 2 things will happen. One is they'll all start saying, why do we need so many rate slabs? So they'll start broadbanding the rates. So suppose the rate today is the A, B, C, D, E, they'll say, they'll have data, no? They'll say C and D mein kuch, there's no farak. So they'll merge C and D. So I think those 5 or 6 rates will ultimately shrink down to 1 or 2. So that will happen.
Okay, and with that, we call it a day right here on the show. Thanks so much for watching.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/ETNow.